Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an advanced sim racing customer.
Some incredible twists were in store for our drivers at Oulton Park and Monza, not least of which was the incredible scene at the first chicane in Italy. Today takes us to a pair of driver favorites with Spa and Suzuka on the docket. Will it bring better days to a few names that need it? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL Formula Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. First up for the Formula 3 AM drivers is Spa-Francorchamps. A rare case of a modernized track retaining its popularity and challenge. There's plenty to go over here with our track guide. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round. DJ, it's easily one of the most frequently used we see here on the roadside, but tell us about the Formula 3 cars at Spa.
Well, Joe, as most times we see any car here at Spa, it is all going to be about that draft, the long run from Eau Rouge and Rétillon down to Lacombe. That is going to be your best overtaking opportunity. Now, these Formula 3s don't generate nearly as much downforce as some of their bigger brothers, but that doesn't mean that drivers aren't going to have a hard time as they make their way back down the hill trying to keep behind a car in front of them. They're going to have to be very, very careful, though. It's very easy to run wide, especially when you're coming through Pouhon and Blanchemont and corners like that. And we've talked about the off-track penalties here. The other thing to keep in mind in this is the circuit that we are running here, the classic pits. That means that the start-finish line for both the start and the finish will be after the La Source hairpin. So that may factor into some driver strategies.
Certainly could give us some exciting moments there at the end. Before we get to those exciting moments, our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebutkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides consulting services from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL Formula Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Now, performances this season has been somewhat interesting for the F3 series. Dave Peterson leads the AMs in the points, but has not taken a win yet. Kevin Santana follows him in second place with 2 wins on the docket. And the other driver to have won 2 races is Michael West. Joey Tebben in there, slotted in. Hasn't had the best round last time out. See if he can rebound today as Christopher Richards rounds out your top 5. What about the team's championship?
Well, Joe, Viking Hot Rod Racing has a pretty sizable 26-point advantage over Britannia iSports MRM, but remember, multiple cars there that can shrink if you've got a bad race. About the same gap back to third for Leading Age Racing, and about a 20-point gap back to Parabola, but Eagle Vision Racing is hot on their heels, only about 3 points back, so watch out for that battle for 4th place.
Now, as for today's event, it's another 40-minute race at about 17 laps, exactly 17 laps, actually. Open setup series, this one. You talked about the downforce on the cars, who is going to be able to trim them out, but still get the most in the twisty bits. They have drive-through penalties as well. This track is notorious for incidents being racked up by pushing the edges of the circuit because there's a lot of paved runoffs, so that'll be a real talking point throughout. And the pole position, as well as fastest lap or 4 incidents or less, for our driver bonuses are being determined, at least 1/3 of that right now with the pole position. But the drivers are just starting the first flying lap currently here, as I believe we've got the 26 coming around to take that one first on the track. But it's going to take a long time to circulate around here, even in these open wheelers, which are pretty nimble, DJ. It's 2 minutes plus for a single lap and only 10 minutes on the clock here. I'm wondering if being clean is going to be at a premium.
I really think it is, Joe. I would not be surprised if we see some of our top drivers, guys like Coffre, obviously, maybe our points leaders here and there, if they decide to come out and do a banker lap first, do one where they're not really pushing it, they can just get a time in and not have to worry about getting any of those off tracks. Seeing some of the times come in right now on these first laps, that's Donald Olson at the top of the charts with a 2:27.9.
I think those are out laps for those drivers starting behind the start-finish line and just now starting their first flyer. This is Joey Tebben coming through. Yeah, he had a similar instance there, so he'll pop up on the board, but that shouldn't really be a competitive lap for him. Now, the track here has only about 75 Fahrenheit on the surface, so they will have to try and work on that, make sure that they get the tires up to temperature. It's only 24 Celsius for our metric volts, as they will have to try and scrub those in and get them up to pace. There's a couple spots around the track where instead of being marked by the middle of the car, we do have to watch out for the edges, or the all 4 wheels rather, like they do with Formula One. So we'll try and keep you abreast on that if they go too far in that sense. That'll be many of the paved runoff sections of this circuit. Still waiting for our first driver to set a time. I think Michael West actually might be our first one. Let's see what he's got as he now comes to the line. This does look competitive indeed. And as he crosses, oh, he had an off track, so doesn't matter as that one will not count.
And here comes Kevin Santana. He's going to be one to watch out for. He's a very, very cagey driver on this track, especially when it comes to fuel strategy. Currently putting in the top time right there. Ritters looks like he had an off track, but Christopher Richards puts in a good lap to come in second with Andy Spicer behind him.
Coffray now on the board by about 0.2 faster than Kevin Santana. So Michael Broomhead has now got one into third place. We're watching Matthew Gunderson as his first one was a slow lap. This one actually going to get deleted. So this is going to come down to it. You can see we're already past 5 minutes here in this session. Holtz, another one lacking a time. And yeah, that one once again deleted for the number 14 car. We looked at Marcheschi instead.
Marcheschi not going to be able to get a time on the board. Joe, this does not bode well for the race itself. Joey Tabin, though, is able to get a good time in. That's a 2:12. That'll put him into third right now. Here comes Cadence Presley. Remember, we've had problems with those drive-through penalties before in other series, in other races. This could be one where we see a lot of cars having to come through pit lane.
Tabin's not doing too shabby. He was into third. He gets shuffled to fourth. Presley finds his way onto the inside of that second row as we watch with Collender and 15th currently. Let's see what he's got underneath him as he crosses another lap that did not count for him. Basically has 2 tries left after this. This is looking a little bit dire because we've only got 19 drivers with a time, and some of those are actually still their out laps.
Indeed. Dave Peterson, you see they're not able to get a time in. That's important for the team's championship. He's in that Viking Hot Rod Racing team. Now we're riding on board with our points leader, Michael West. Let's see what he can do. Hopefully this lap will count for him. Comes over to cross the line here. That's a 2:11.3. Does it stick? It does. That's pole.
By half a second over Coffray, and Santana steals it right back by another 0.3. Is getting those tires up to temperature proving to be more valuable than we even imagined. Christopher Richards goes up to 6th that time with a 2:12.1.
Doing a good lap there for Figueroa. That's up to P3 for him. He'll be very happy about that. Here comes Manuel Vargas. He's going to get the benefit of a draft there if that lap will stick, but it does not. But as he comes up the hill, it does stick. That's P10 for Vargas, and he'll get a nice draft now coming down that the Kemmel Straight.
I'm keeping half an eye on Dave Peterson, who still doesn't have a representative time down, and he is our points leader in that 35. This is Carter down in 18th. He did get a decent one in at a 2:13.8. Line is all the way down there, pretty far down the hill. A quicker one at 2:12.8 will certainly help him. Marcheschi this time actually gets one to count. He'll go up to 12th.
Here's Aaron Law. Law looks like he is able to improve. That'll be an 8th place bump for him. He'll be pretty happy about that, as we're now waiting for a couple more drivers to come to the line. Looks like we have the next one up is going to be the 23rd place car of Nicholas Collender.
So as he navigates La Source here, looks like he should be within the time range. A little bit of a bobble trying to get on the throttle out of that corner. Where is this going to put himself as he crosses the line? It's a 2:14.3. And that'll be good enough for 22nd.
Dave Peterson comes across the line. That's going to hold, and that's going to put Peterson up the charts into 8th. Michael West here now coming down into La Source. Great camera angle here from Dougie Beard. Let's see if the number 47 has got the speed to take away the pole from Kevin Santana.
Looks like it's within range. Ticking down. He'll get one more shot after this. If it doesn't count, it's a 2:11.1, 0.2 faster, but he is just shy.
And there goes Santana, unable to improve, so the 666 is going to have to sit there, but that's going to be this will be his last lap out. Here comes a whole slew of drivers coming in. Figueroa here, that's going to be marginally faster if it counted, but that did not count, so he will stay in 4th.
Yeah, he got shuffled down by Ridgway, and now Broomhead goes quicker. He's into 3rd. Still, nobody is able to touch Santana's time.
That time from Santana looking very good. Here comes Tyler Gore to the line. Gore's going to be able to improve on his own time, so that'll move him up into 14th. That's good for him. Donald Olson, looks like that lap is not going to count for him, I believe. Unfortunately, here comes James Carter.
I think Carter might be the last one to start a flyer. Let's see. Yeah, he crossed in time. That one was quicker, up to 20th for him. Nope, I was wrong. Marcheschi just snuck across the line. Didn't quite see if he improved, though. And looks like Coffray's second lap that he ran will not count. That is it for him. Aaron Law, not able to go quicker. Spicer, neither either.
Yeah, and Coffray got very, very squirrely coming out of La Source. Oh, as Nicholas Colander does a nice little turnaround there, quickly gets off the track. That'll help people out. Here's Dave Peterson in that 35, getting a nice little draft.
Looked at West for a brief moment as we switch to Plord here. Oh, and he's going to go right off the La Source hairpin as Peterson comes down. Here's West through the bus stop chicane. Dave Peterson does not improve. He'll have to start from 10th for a championship leader. Not looking good for a win from that far behind. West up to the final hairpin through La Source. Instead of the opening corner, it's the one that wraps up your lap. Have to try and get it clean. So what's the 47 got? 0.158 to try and snatch it away from Kevin Santana, who is still running right now. And it is a 2:10.8. That's going to be pole for West.
Unless Santana can respond, and he can! Kevin Santana takes it away!
6 thousandths of a second splitting our leaders. They are dead even with each other. Steven Ritters is going to be in 8th place as he does not find more time on it. Takeshi Kita still looking for a lap. That one will be a 2:13.1, good enough for 24th place. Otherwise, looks like a bear. Is he going to find improvement? Yes, he is. 2:14.4, but he stays in 28th.
James Holland looks like he's unable to improve there. I just saw Sean Duhamel be able to pop up a good time. That's Sebastian Coffray. I don't think he was actually in time anyways, so that lap wouldn't have counted for him. And I believe that wraps up qualifying here, Joe.
It does indeed. So we'll wait for the session to tick down so that we can officially give you the results. But don't forget, this is not the only racing we have for this evening. If you are enjoying this, coming up right after this race, we have the Precision Racing League Formula Renault 3.5 Pro Series over in Suzuka. And that is a driver's track, if there ever is one. Many have attested to the difficulty of trying to race there. Combine that with the incredible grunt that is in that 3.5 Formula Renault open wheeler, and it is going to certainly bring out the best and maybe some of the weaknesses in our pro level drivers. Well, we await what is likely to be quite a bit of a draft race here, DJ, which is possibly going to play into the hands of Kevin Santana.
It possibly could. We talked about his ability to conserve fuel. That could be something that he does, and especially around here, I think if you're maybe able to eke out a lap over your other drivers, it could seriously help you.
Looks like session's officially done with, so let's go through that starting order. Kevin Santana just barely eking out the pole ahead of Michael West, taking those bonus points. Michael Broomhead was third with Robert Ridgway in P4. You've got Vargas in 5th, Figueroa in P6, and Joey Tebben with a good qualifying today in 7th place. It'll be Christopher Richards starting 8th, Steven Ritters 9th, and Coffray all the way down in 10th.
In 11th, it's going to be Dave Peterson, followed by Nick Horvath. Behind them in row 7, it's Aaron Law and Andy Spicer, with Sean Duhamel and James Holland lining up behind them. Keaton Marcheschi will make up the inside of row 9, followed by Tyler Gore, and rounding out your top 20, it's Cadence Presley and Matthew Gunderson.
Plord and Carter on the next row, followed by Olson in 23rd. Takeshi Kita starts P24. Bennett is 25th today. Then it's Barnett in 26th, Nick Colander in 27th, and a Bear last one to qualify 28th. Gridded up at the back, Lorente Holtz, Hotham, Accord, Doherty, and Scarali. bringing up the rest of the field. Again, it is not into La Source for the first corner. It is into Eau Rouge and then Raidillon. They're here for the first turns. Hopefully they'll get that sorted out, but they won't be at full tilt, so hopes are high that this will not be a chaotic start. There you can see them all ready to go as we're just looking for Lorente and La in these last 30 seconds of gridding up today for round 5 of the Precision Racing League Formula 3 Amateur Series. I think La just plopped himself on the grid, so number 9, will he start from pit lane? No, the green flag is already out and off the line. It is not a good start for Santana as West has got the jump on him. They're going to go side by side up into Eau Rouge, and he's going to be able to get by Santana, who's already under threat from Broomhead as well.
Oh, and it is a massive swarm of bees behind. That's the 22 there of Manuel Vargas trying to poke his way around. They're almost 4 wide coming down the Temple Straight here, Joe.
Holy cow, this might not end well coming into Lacombe. It looks like Broomhead's going to be able to get past Santana for that second position, almost 3 wide into that corner. But behind them, it is actually fairly clean. I'm not seeing any wrecks.
Kind of amazed that that was able to happen there and everybody able to get through so cleanly. But Santana starting to try to put some more pressure on Broomhead after that not so great start.
From first to third by the first few corners here on the lap. He's still got 17 of them to try and take that one back, and a lot of slipstream with hopes to do it as they now fly through Puhan. Up at the front of them, Michael West is actually making good of his clear air and is starting to pull away, is way off on the runoff. There's a 1X for Michael Broomhead.
Yeah, and Figueroa behind there being very, very feisty. He's really starting to poke his nose out as much as he can, trying to see if he can put any pressure, but that's allowing for Joey Tebbin to catch in behind him.
So as we now come along the stretch towards Blanchimont, I think I see our first problem of the day. I think that's Robert Ridgway. We'll get back to that in a bit. He went off in Stavelot. Down towards Blanchimont now amongst our front runners, and Santana is under threat. Even though he got past Broomhead, he's looking left and right and isn't able to execute. Someone going very wide there and spinning out. That's Joey Tebbin.
Oh no, and that's gonna, ooh, that's a crash coming in front of him. I'm not sure if there was contact between any of those other drivers.
Yeah, there was, unfortunately, and Tebbin got a piece of it as well. I think that was James Holland that ran into him. So this is Tebbin with his initial spin. It was Holland in the number 2. Oh! Now he just got smashed from behind. I don't know who that was. Looks like that was Tyler Gore.
Let's see this. This is just bizarre, Joe. Comes in on the brakes. I think he got a tap from behind. Yeah, was that Kita maybe that got him?
Well, this has got so many layers to it. And so it was ghost contact, unfortunately. So there we go. That finally settles the mystery of whether it was turtles all the way down. In the end, it was somebody having a little bit of a bump. So Tyler Gore now back running in 24th. Olsen and Plord also had a wreck in La Source, so don't need to go back to that. They eventually got it going. So up at the front, West is your leader. Santana now back into second, but he's got to make up about 9/10 to get up to Michael, and then Broomhead the same distance back in third.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a battle starting to shape up here for P5. We talked a little bit about Figueroa chasing in on Richards. Right now, it's a train of Richards, Figueroa, Coffray, Ritters, Peterson, and Horvat. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you can see them all coming through each other.
Absolutely. So this could change easily, especially with the slipstream. And they come out of Stavelot as well. Figueroa trying to break that draft behind him. Coffray trying to pull him in. Ritters and Peterson looking to see if they can cut that down as well. Blanchimont usually very single file, even in these cars. Getting very close. Coffray might have something on Camilo. In fact, he's going to look to the inside, outbrakes him down to the bus stop, and he is through.
That's a good move from him there. Just some classic bus stop overtaking.
It's not over yet, though. We'll see if they can hold these positions down the Kimmel Straight, which is an even longer run, and without a kink through it, to try and break them up. Down to complete lap 2. This is all essentially the battle for the 6th spot.
It is indeed, as Michael West sets the fastest lap of the race, starting to pull away a little bit from Kevin Santana. But this Hornet's Nest behind is really where that action is. I'm watching it a little bit on that pink 28 of Coffret. It looks like he's got a pretty good run on Richards. Richards trying to dart. Here comes Coffret down to the inside, braking hard into Lacombe. Who's going to be braver? It's going to switch back to Richards on the second part of the corner, but they're still going to be side by side. And there goes Coffret.
Sebastian up to 5th. Richards had no response in the end. Figueroa just behind him, showing his nose. Oh, but he goes wide down through Rivage. Eventually he gets a hold of it. Back through No Name. One of the deceptively tricky corners on this track. Looks like all of them are going to be able to navigate it successfully.
Yeah, able to get through there nice and well, and this is where that setup tweaking starts to come in. You may see a driver or two that decided to trim down a little bit more. Ooh, Figueroa trying to take a move there. Ooh, and that got him wide. That got him onto the curb. That's a very wide line there. That could open up an opportunity for Ritters.
It's the second time we've seen that out of him. He did the same thing in Rivage. So I wonder if he's learned his lesson now, having it happen twice in one lap. Here we go again. All of them looking for the throttle down as soon as possible. Richards might have his payback on Coffret. He's got an even better slipstream. He's much closer than Sebastian was when he made his pass at this part of the track. Out of Blanchimont. Richards, though, not quite there.
Yeah, not quite able to get it done there, but there's still plenty of time for him to do it. Behind him, it looks like Ritters and Peterson going at it side by side. Ooh, they are still side by side on the exit of the bus stop.
But Peterson gets the exit, so he's going to be ahead of Steven. They head down into La Source now. Doesn't cover him off. He's going to leave the door open. Stevens doesn't try and duck it in. Maybe he's waiting for right here. There's all kinds of action happening all over this group because Coffret and Richards are continuing to duke it out in front of them. It's probably going to erupt down the Kimmel Straight. Here we see Richards and Coffret on screen. Off the top of Radion. Richards in the slipstream. I think Sebastian might have less wing in it. Look at him. He's not even being bothered right now.
No, he's not. Sebastian Coffret, really and truly nothing at all going on there. So that could be a little bit of a strategy. Maybe help him move himself up the field.
Ritters did get the spot right back from Peterson into Lacombe, giving him 8th place. So it looks like it's going to be easy times trying to make those overtakes. In the meantime, we've lost Bennett, Tebben, and Holland, as well as Plord so far of our 33 starters.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a heartbreak for them. And yeah, as we continue to watch Coffret here, yeah, look at that, Joe. That car is really, really loose coming through Pouhon. Look how much time he is losing there to Richards behind. I think you hit the nail on the head. He is very trimmed out and struggling through this high downforce section of the circuit.
But what can Richards do from here? Because it's so much easier to pass down the straights. And even if he does get by, how does he shake him enough to try and keep Sebastian from passing him right back with ease?
Well, it's going to be tricky, and it's going to be one of the things that is so difficult to do here at Spa. Try to keep everything together. Richards trying to get it down through Blanchimont. I think for him, he has just got to hope that he's able to maybe make a sneak attack.
This is all happening within about 0.6 of a second of Vargas in 4th in front of them. But I've been watching the lead, and it was up to 1.4 seconds. Now it's gone down to about half a second. Santana has been reeling in west. I'm not sure if this is the slipstream, though, because he was far away, so I wouldn't think so, but it's been very steady, and I don't know why Michael has been caught this easily.
I'm not sure either, but here comes Kevin Santana with a full head of steam. The 666 gonna dive to what'll be to the outside of Lacombe as they go flying down the Kemmel Straight. That's a little bit of lap traffic in front of them, but Santana already ahead of West.
For the first time since they gridded, Santana is your leader once again. Now, he was teasing me before the race, saying, who knows what kind of fuel strategy I'll run this time. But that doesn't look like a fuel strategy race to me. I think Santana legitimately wants to be at the front.
Yeah, I think he does too. I think there's a little bit of fire in that fire red 666 machine that he wants to go for. Look at the lines there coming through. No Name or Jackie Ix, I think they may have named it a couple of years ago. I don't remember, yeah. But anyway, so there you can see those different lines as they come through. Watch that. Ooh, West looking a little bit wider there through Pujon.
Yeah, that is certainly worth noting. And would think it would be Santana, or no, I was thinking of Coffre that had it trimmed out, excuse me. But yeah, the drivers with less downforce may be the ones likely to go wide. Let's head back to that battle for fourth position. He's gotten past Vargas when we weren't looking. 22, the next victim for the 28 machine. But the laps here are going by quickly. Remember, it's only 17 times around. We're already a quarter of the way through. 8th place, Ritters and Law. They've been battling one another since Law got past Peterson. Side by side through Blanchimont. He goes just a little bit wide off the corner, falls back, so that one won't stick for Law.
No, it won't, but kudos to Aaron for having some guts to make that move. Now let's see what Dave Peterson can do behind on that. Law obviously had a little bit more speed. Looks like there's a little bit of a blinking Nick Horvath behind him. Law looks like he's got enough here. He looks a little stronger on the brakes. He may be able to get this move done down the Kemmel Straight.
And another fastest lap for Kevin Santana. In fact, he's put about 9/10 over Michael West. What may have been a bit of a slow start for the 666 has suddenly flowered into a beautifully fast car. Meanwhile, Law with a good run on Ritters. Ritters, oh, squeezes him off. I don't think he knew that he was coming through, but he didn't leave enough space, and Law had to lift.
And behind him, it looks like that is Ritters and Figueroa going, or no, yeah, Ritters and Figueroa going at it a little bit. Oh, that's an off. That is a big off for Christopher Richards.
He's losing all kinds of spots now. And Horvath is going to get by along with Dave Peterson. Man, Richards was so much farther up than that. What happened? I think he made contact. If we watch the left, Figueroa is going to come together with him. It might be a little bit of ghost contact, sadly.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was indeed.
So twice now. That has messed up a few drivers' races. And that does help Coffre and Vargas now being able to get away from some of them. Figueroa back in 6th. We once again turn our attention to Law, still hunting down Steven Ritters in that 66. He gets another bite here. Last time he tried to go side by side through Blanchimont. Did he learn to do anything different?
Well, let's see if he has learned his lesson. He tries to poke his nose to the inside a little bit. Yes, he did learn his lesson. He's going to take the preferred line. Now, as they get ready for Blanchimont, is he going to be the one forcing Ritters out wide? No, he doesn't even need to. He's got the move done beforehand.
Will Ritters try to fight him back? Yeah, he sticks his nose in. He takes it in deep, but he actually makes the apex. I thought there was no way he was getting it slowed up, as behind them, we got a spinner. Looks like Presley went off all on his own, I think.
I think you're right. He most certainly did. And that looks like Nick Horvath there maybe trying to make a move coming up the inside of Aaron Law. Law looks like he is just a little bit off the pace, going super defensive. Oh no, he's coming into the pits.
This, I believe, is within the pit window. Yeah, he should be able to make it from here. So we head over to Broomhead. My goodness, Coffre has been on a charge, qualified in 10th, but he's already overtaken Broomhead, and he is now up to the podium on lap 7. That's a position each lap for him, having started from 10th.
That's an amazing run there for Coffret. The only problem that he's got, though, is that he's got about a 5-second gap, 6-second gap, all the way up to Michael West. So if he wants to be a real competitor for this, he's going to have to get a move on.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not running faster laps than Santana as well. What about West? Yeah, he is a little bit quicker than West, it seems. So second place could be on the cards as they swing out of Pouhon. We're going to go back to Horvath and Richards now. They're not too far behind Peterson, so I almost wonder if they should call off this battle while they try to catch up to the 35 in front of them.
Well, if you try to tell a driver to cool off when they're this close on a battle, I don't think it's ever going to work. But we watch here as Richards tries to get that good line, getting ready to go down into Stavilo. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there from Nick Horvath. Maybe those tires getting a little bit of wear. You see Richards bobbing and weaving a little bit, just trying to figure out the best line, running a little bit wide there. I don't think that's going to be a 1X, but he's certainly got to run. Are we going to see another pass through Blanchimont?
Looks like Horvath is going to cover off the inside. Richards doesn't get the overlap. Still compromises the line of the 382. Doesn't seem to be enough. This time he defends, and Christopher Richards will sit back in that 10th spot. They have caught Dave Peterson during this, so the 35 could be under threat when they go down the Kimmel Straight.
Very well could be, and it looked like Horvath compromised himself a little bit coming into the bus stop. I think he outbraked himself ever so slightly, and so that may have hurt him a little bit.
As all this has been happening, last lap for Coffret at 2:12.5, West at 2:11.3. Well, that was much slower for the 28, so he lost some time to second place. So we'll have to try and clean that up and hope to come back a little better as Richards has a much better run. He's going to get to the outside, but now that he's hit the wall of air, is he going to run out of steam compared to the 382? It looks like that's the case. He's not fully past him. Horvath with the inside, but not deep on the brakes. He'll keep the overlap slightly until Richards finally figures it out.
Yeah, it's a good committed move there from Richards. And once again, there just is something that looks a little bit off about Nick Horvath's car mid-corner. Not sure what exactly it is, but it's just not going the way it should.
Out of No Name. Fun story. It's not just No Name and Jackie Ickx, but also called Speaker's Corner. So despite its unofficial name of No Name, it actually has quite a few of them. Meanwhile, Gunderson is dropping. What did he do here? Was it in No Name? I think it was.
I think it was, yeah, just got those right side tires up onto the AstroTurf there, but able to catch it and keep going.
He's very lucky. There's not much runoff at all there, and managed to keep it out of the barriers, but he falls to 16th, sadly. So a lot of work to do. Whoa, and a lot of cars to avoid. Brett Accord spins off for some reason in Fanyes. I think, it was almost the same as what Gunderson experienced, just caught the curb on the inside.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a combination of catching the curb and just getting a little bit too much throttle there as he came around. Good avoidance by Matthew Gunderson there, really threading the line on that AstroTurf and not getting too far out into the kitty litter.
A way to be, heads up for sure. Gunderson at least avoiding having an even worse day with that one. Better to lose that little bit of time than have to get some damage. We got a little bit of a train forming here in 20th. Oh, and a move maybe. An attempt at a move. That was Barnett. Decided to back out of it. Olsen with them as well. And a lot of wheel spin from Daniel will certainly put him under threat. Here comes the 413. Holding to the inside in the black and white machine. The pink and blue is Daniel. Tries to take it deep on the brakes. Gives plenty of space at that wide apex. And Olsen will not be able to make the pass. Now, we've had a couple stops since then. Horvath, Presley, and Marcheschi are in, and I think Ridgway also joining them on the lane as we watch this trio head towards the Kimmel Straight.
Indeed, and this is going to get interesting. That was a lot of movement there in the back from the 26 of Tyler Scarali. He is now going to be thinking about making this 3 wide, maybe trying to go for it. Olsen's trying to hold him off the best he can, and they're going to look like they're going to sort themselves out by the time they get down into Lacombe.
Yeah, so Scarali gets the spot over Barnett that time. And in front of them all, Colander still leads them. Now, I took a look at West and Coffray, and last lap, Coffray was actually quicker by nearly half a second. So if he can keep that up, I wonder if we will have a battle for the lead. We're just about at the halfway point right now.
Yes, we are, and I would expect to start seeing some more guys coming into the pits here. 9 laps to go. This pit strategy, as I've said before, if you can eke out an extra lap, it can really, really help you. Santana kind of the king of that, and there you could actually see West in the forefront at the screen as Coffray came around the bus stop.
There's that number 28. Now out of La Source. 7 seconds to the leader, but only 4.8 to Michael West. West's last lap time, a 2:10.7 personal best for him. Coffray, a 2:10.6, but wasn't a personal best because he went off track at some point, so that one will not count for a fastest lap. 17th place, side by side. This is Colander under attack from Olsen, who's going to slip through at the bus stop, but will he be able to hold on to it? No, he will, because a little bit of a mistake from Colander hampers his exit.
Indeed, and behind them, it looks like there's a little bit of a battle going on between Scarali and Barnett. Still all of that stuff. Presley, everybody really fighting and dighting out here. Couple of more guys jumping down into the pit lane. Looks like Brett Accord and Steven Ritters have both come down.
Yep, so we're seeing a number of mid-packers try a bit of an alternate strategy. That definitely breaks up our fight that we were watching. Looking at Richards once again, who's certainly given us plenty of fun today. Dave Peterson is just ahead of him. Peterson up 4 positions from where he began this race, but even with that, he's only sitting in 7th. I think he's going to lose the points lead after this, considering it's only three markers between himself and Santana is leading with bonus points for the pole.
Yes, he is. So it's going to be a very, very championship deciding race, it looks like.
Let's take a look at Kevin Santana. Won the last 2 rounds, has been charging up the order here in
Joe
the AM
Coffray is making a move on Michael West for second. I'm sorry to cut you off there.
How did he catch him? Was there a mistake from West? West is going to try and cut back as we ride on board. Look at him sawing at the wheel. Unfortunately, that hurt him, and Coffray is able to run away. I don't think he'll be able to make a move into La Source there. Something happened there with Michael West that was very, very strange.
I'm not sure. Let's take a look as they cross over. West is going to come into the pits here, so that's going to kind of deprive us of being able to look at lap times. I've got to think Michael made some sort of mistake coming through there.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch, and it was incredibly quick, almost like he had a slowdown penalty from earlier. And was just trying to serve it, but I can't tell where he could have gotten that. In the meantime, West has decided now is a good time to try and pit. Wonder if he actually went off the track and hit some curbs or something. Maybe he's trying to come in, get some repairs. Duhamel also in. Ritters is already pitted. Is he going to be able to come out ahead of West? Oh, West is in for a long time. Something's wrong with the 47.
I wonder if it is that damage, maybe, Joe. I'm looking at the timing here. About 30 seconds. That's not front wing damage. Could this be a speeding penalty?
Could be. I haven't been able to check and see if he was over the limit there. Oh, no, he did hit the wall. He did get damage. It was a long ways back. He went over the grass and Lacombe, cut across, then slammed into the barrier on the right-hand side. And so he must have taken some pretty good damage on top speed then, because it looked like he was caught so easily down the straights. Wonder if he's still going to be limping after this, or if the car is able to really get to top end.
Well, I'm looking at him here. He's looking pretty slow, Joe. I saw him top out at maybe 140 or so going down the Kemmel Straight, and we're seeing other cars at around 150, 155.
Oh, just gutting. So, unfortunately, West coming in 4th in the championship, but this one will wind up being costly if he's lacking pace. We look at 4th place, Figueroa, only up a single spot, but it feels like he's been up through more because he's had to make a number of passes. Vargas is the one he's chasing. Both of them looking like they're coming into pit lane.
Indeed, he's going to chase him right down into the pits. Coffret as well ahead of them coming in. So Santana and Broomhead staying out, and Dave Peterson. So a couple of guys able to stretch this fuel stint a little bit longer.
Yeah, not sure if Coffret was thinking he's responding to West or if this was as long as he could go. Santana continuing on. Should be getting close to the end of the pit window, but I don't know if it's the end of the pit window. Coffret with a decent stop at about 5.3 seconds. He's back and running. So is Vargas and Figueroa.
Yeah, Vargas having a pretty good stop there as well, 4.7 seconds. Here they go. This is Vargas and Figueroa. Figueroa trying to get the draft. He's going to pull out to the inside of what will be Lacombe. Is he going to have the guts to be later on the brakes? Looks like he is. Send him through. Can he hold it through the second part? Yes, he can.
I think Vargas got on the radio and let him know he wasn't going to fight it. So I wonder if Vargas either short-fueled or wants to try and work with the 282 to see if they can catch those ahead of him, considering the next one ahead is currently what should be the second place driver when the pit cycle works through.
Indeed, but Figueroa's going to have to be careful there. That was a very wide exit he made on the exit of No Name, and he's got to be careful for those off tracks that we talked about here and there.
Keeping an eye on Santana to see if he calls it this time. We're just waiting on him, Broomhead, Peterson, Kita, Spicer, and Doherty to be the last ones to pit. So 6 cars who have been able to make it to about lap 13 here. And yeah, Santana's already hugging the inside. He is pitting this time.
Well, and with that bad stop from West, it's pretty much going to be no comparison for him at all. As we watch Coffret coming on through. Now remember, Coffret was making a good charge through the field. Let's watch as Santana comes to rest down in his pit stall. Also to notice Michael Broomhead has come in as well.
Peterson does the same. Yeah, this might be the very end of that pit window. Kita also pitting along with Spicer. So Santana with a good stop at 4.9 seconds. Coffret is just coming out of La Source. So yeah, he is certainly not going to be catching Santana. He wasn't running faster laps before the pit stops. And so if he doesn't have it before, I'm not sure it's likely he'll be able to have it after. Now, wait a minute. Did Broomhead beat Coffret out?
Yes, he did. He did. He beat him out by the tune of about 1.1 seconds. So here comes Sebastian Coffret. He's still got some work to do.
Wow. I did not have Broomhead on my list to be the one to watch out for here in this battle for second place. So Coffret still has yet more on his hands to try and get as high as possible. We're going to ride on board with Sebastian as we watch him wheel it down Rivage.
Through that corner, always deceptive. Now down through Jackie X. Let's see if he can keep it together. Nice and smooth on the wheel there. That's good. Not taking too much of that tire wear out of it. Only 5 laps to go. Takes a little bit of a more narrow line on the entrance to Pujol. Lets it run wide at the mid corner and then lets it run again. You can see him trying to poke his nose to where the car in front of him is not. That is a way for him to get as much clean air on the front of that car as possible and make it handle as well as it can.
I'll give you a guess as to who one of our hardest chargers is. The first 2 guesses don't count, though.
I'm gonna guess it's Joey Tebben or Takeshi Kita.
It is Kita. Tebben's retired. He's not in this race anymore, I think. But yes, Kita from 24th up to 9th, but he might not be able to hold on to it as we see a clear track ahead. If we look behind, Duhamel and Richards are starting to hungrily eye up that rear wing.
They certainly are, and here comes Duhamel as they come through Blanchimont right now. Ooh, he backs off a little bit there, gonna take a little bit of a wider line out of the exit of the corner. Is he gonna try to dive down the inside of Bus Stop? No, he's gonna be too far back. Takeshi's gonna be able to hold that down for now.
Ooh, a little slide to the apex from Kita. Maybe feeling the pressure, but he's cleaner off the exit compared to Sean. So he gets away from him. If either of them start battling, Richards will certainly love that. We're going to look at the battle for second, though, because this time Coffret has caught up to Broomhead, and he's got enough of a slipstream that he's able to get to the side. Can he get to the front? He's past him. This will give Broomhead a little drink of the slipstream, but it's not enough of it, and he can't fight back. So Sebastian, once again, back to P2.
Great moves there for Coffret. He's going to feel very, very happy about that. Woohoo! Almost running a little bit wide there on the exit of Malmedy. He'll have to be careful not to be doing that again. Only 4 laps to go here, so he's still got to make sure everything stays on track and watch out for that 13 incident point limit.
I'm trying to see. I don't think... Well, no, we've had a couple people through twice already, but I'm not sure if their first one was a drive-through. Taking another look at Kita. Duhamel's still behind him. Richards at the tail of the trio, but not as close to Keshi as they were before. They can stay behind him, or at least within these half-second gaps, through Puan and down through the bottom half of the course. The run towards Bus Stop should give him a shot and a slipstream.
It should give him a good one. Remember, we saw Duhamel back off a little bit through Blanchimont last time. Let's see if he shows the same discretion again this time. They come down here into Stavelot. Looks like he's going to have a pretty good run if he can keep it together. That's a good exit, though, for Takeshi Kita. Maybe able to hold some things together, but Duhamel's coming on very, very fast here.
Don't need to go to it, but Aaron Law had a spin, light touches with the wall, and is running once again, but lost multiple positions. Here we go. Duhamel just sitting and waiting behind. And is Figueroa off in front of them? I see him suddenly have come to a halt and some smoke here. So I think there may have been an issue for Figueroa.
We'll have to check that out, but Figueroa's gap definitely gone down. Still showing him on the timing screens up in 7th as of right now. It just doesn't look like that Duhamel has the pace to catch Kita here. I think Kita may be slightly more trimmed out, Joe.
Thing is, Figueroa was in 4th. So yeah, he spun and lost spots. And we watch these 3 head towards the Kemmel Straight. In fact, they're not too far back from him. And Figueroa getting on the radio, I think speaking in Spanish, but I heard the word slowdown in there. Ah, yeah. I think Holtz was given a slowdown in front of him, so he's letting him by. Meanwhile, side by side here on screen, Duhamel to the inside. Or excuse me, Kita to the inside, Duhamel to the outside as Takeshi defends and does so successfully.
It's a pretty brilliant defense, but we've got a 3-way battle. We're going to stay here, though, as Duhamel looks like he has a little bit of a better entry there into Radion, but not able to hold it down through No Name.
The battle that you mentioned ahead of them was Horvath, Figueroa, and Peterson. No, actually, I think just Horvath and Figueroa, I should say. They got a lapped car behind them that they had just recently overtaken. That's Holtz. If these 3 that we're currently watching, Kita, Duhamel, Richards, get a little bit closer, they could pull the slipstream on Holtz and maybe kind of use him as a stepping stone to get up to Camilo.
They could indeed. This could get very, very spicy here as we're about to get ready to cross over with 2 laps to go. All of these battles could very easily close up, and we could be in for a real hornet's nest by the end.
Spa has a habit of putting on good finishes. Is down to the inside, a little bit of a look. No, outside, a look from Duhamel. Braking deep, he manages to get it beside him, and a mistake! Spinning it around, Takeshi Kita gives up both spots, and now even the likes of Andy Spicer is going to be able to stream through.
As there we see him going, Joe. I think that was a little bit of an issue there with Keto when he was just trying to maybe trail brake a little bit too much, get that car rotated on an alternate line, and it just feels like those rear tires locked up on him, and that's what sent him around.
I think we have a driver that has taken a drive-through penalty. Scarali, unfortunately, is showing having run through the pit lane without stopping. Fourth place, Vargas, who we were watching a little bit earlier, now with Ritters behind him, having taken stops at slightly different times, but still come out together.
Indeed, sometimes those battles just can't be kept away. Ritter's holding that gap down to about 6-7 tenths of a second. Got 2 laps to get it here. Good line there for Vargas, trying to get it out of No Name right there. Let's see if he's got anything left.
Just took a look. Let's stay here, but poor Michael West is so down on speed that he's fallen to 20th place and is actually about 4 to 5 seconds off the regular pace of what he usually can run. So this is going to be a frustrating end of this one. 2 laps to go here at Spa-Francorchamps, which is about to be the white flag because Santana is now coming through the bus stop. Just one more corner from here before he sees that flag stand.
Indeed. Remember the start-finish line here after La Source. Not what we're used to and seeing in these open wheelers, but it's the way it is. I have got to give massive credit here to Kevin Santana. Didn't have the best start, but just applied the maximum pressure to Michael West and did a wonderful job to push his way through the field.
Boy, Santana just, once he got that pace going, nothing could stop him. 13.3 seconds ahead of Cofray's. No mean feat. Now, Sebastian did have to make some passes considering he started back in 10th. But yeah, nobody even within range of him. Look, down the Kemmel Straight, are we going to see Cofray? No. We didn't see any sight of him. That's how far ahead Santana is.
Yeah, there's Sebastian right there. And credit also due to Michael Broomhead. We saw Cofray be able to get by Broomhead pretty easily, but Broomhead not going away quietly here. He has stayed within about 2.5 seconds of Cofray, so good job for him.
Yep. Broomhead started third. Looks like he's going to finish third, which will still be a pretty good day. He came into this 10th in the points, about 40 back from Peterson. But he will gain on Peterson, but not Santana. We look at Horvath once again. Figueroa, who plunges it into Rivage, almost getting into the gearbox of Camilo. Nick Horvath showing just how deep you can get into that corner.
Indeed, plowing their way now through No Name. I think that may have been a little bit of a strategic 1X from Nick Horvath, trying to carry as much speed as possible. Coming down through Pujol. Oh, catching the curb there ahead is Figueroa, but able to gather it up back under him.
Mistakes like that are going to offer it up on a silver platter if he's not careful. Meanwhile, Kevin Santana is coming up to the bus stop right now. The 666 will make it a hat trick of wins here in the middle of the season. And I am impressed at the way that he has charged back and taken this championship by the throat. He's going to not only take a victory, but he's going to surpass Dave Peterson in the points here today, with Peterson finishing way down in 6th. A win for Kevin Santana as he takes 3 in a row.
Absolutely mega drive there from Santana, and an equally mega drive up 8 spots for Sebastian Cofray. Really, really good run for him and for your 3rd place finisher, Michael Broomhead.
And Figueroa did manage to hold back Horvath, who had an attempt down into the bus stop chicane. He looks for the over-under coming out of the La Source hairpin, and he's got just enough space to the outside. It's a drag race to the line. Who's going to have it between the pair of them? It is going to be Horvath, just barely ahead at the line.
Oh, it's what you love to see here at Spa, Joe. Absolutely love it.
3 thousandths of a second between them as Ridgway just went off, unfortunately. And I think that's going to give 16th to Olsen. Michael West still trying to do what he can to stop the bleeding, but unfortunately, I think he's lost yet another one since I last checked. That is Hotham in front of him. He's going to try, even with a damaged car, to see if he can get this one back. Will the likes of Hotham defend? No, he's going to leave the door open as they got a spinning car in front of them. That's yet another spot. That's James Holland. No, excuse me, that is a lap down car, so that's not for position. Off the line, that extra top speed from Hotham will pay off, and West has to settle for 21st. What a miserable day for him. In the meantime, that is going to take us to a quick, we're going to go through the results here. Used to our regular schedule here, and up at the top, Kevin Santana was our victor. Sebastian Coffret from 10th to 2nd. Have to wonder what could have happened if he had a better qualifying. Broomhead with 3rd as Vargas was P4. Ritters as well, up 4 to 5th place. Dave Peterson was 6th as Horvath was 7th. Figueroa wound up in P8 to Hamill 9th and Richards in 10th.
In 11th, it was Andy Spicer. In 12th, Takeshi Kita, still up 12 positions despite that spin we saw him have. Matthew Gunderson was 13th, followed by Keaton Marcheschi with James Carter and David Olson behind them. Robert Ridgway was 17th, followed by Daniel Barnett and Brian Hotham, and Michael West, your pole sitter, your second place starter, rounding out your top 20.
21st to Doherty with Presley in 22nd. Then it's Colander in 23rd, the last one on the lead lap. Holson 24th, Bear 25th, Scarali P26, and Law was the first among our drivers that DNF'd from there on down. They did not see the checkered flag. We do have 3rd place finisher Michael Broomhead ready to talk to us. Mike, you finished where you started, so you can't complain too much, but that had to have been a little bit of a shock, suddenly finding yourself racing with Coffret there after the pit stops.
Slightly out of place. Sebastian and Kevin were so fast, and of course Michael as well, and Manuel behind was just relentless, and so was Camilo. I was just holding on, basically.
Well, hold on, you did, to a well-earned podium position. Up at the front, it seemed like nobody really had much interest in running any draft trains. Coming in, did you plan to try and save fuel by just holding behind someone, or did you want to fight every lap?
That was my goal. I just wasn't fast enough, Joe. It was kind of hard keeping up with them. Everybody in front of me was just getting away, and there's nothing I could do about it. I just want to say they obviously found something in the setup, because between the corners and the long straights, it's very hard to find something that works on both, and I think they had more straight line, as well as corner grip was there as well. So well done to them. But that's the best I could do today, and thankfully it's on the podium.
That's always the tough part, is how do you set it up for the straights or for the corners here? Is there anybody that you want to thank for today's podium?
The team Britannia. Michael's been fast, and he's had some hard luck, but he's getting there. We're very new. Mountain Range Marketing and releaseslight.com, and of course my family and Mimi and you guys as well.
Great stuff. That was our 3rd place finisher, Mike Broomhead. And looks like won't get to talk to anybody else, so we got to head over to Suzuka. Stick around. We have another race coming your way. It is the PRL Formula Renault 3.5 Pro Series. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps. Before we take off on a plane, we decided we wanted to talk real quick to Kevin Santana, who has joined us as the winner of the last round. Kevin, congratulations on the win. It seemed like a bit of a bad start for you, though. What happened, and how did the car feel on those first couple laps? Was it just kind of coming in for you?
Yeah, I just had to wait for it to come in. Just bide my time for the first 2, 3, 4 laps, whatever it was.
Did you feel pretty confident that you could start to leave West behind? We were a bit surprised that you dropped him as well as you did.
This setup was just all kinds of crazy quick.
Sounds like it felt pretty good for you in the end. So 3 wins in a row. You got to be feeling pretty good. Do you think that you can make it a 4-peat over at Phillip Island?
Yeah, we'll see how well turn 2 treats me.
I feel you there. Never a fan of it myself. Congratulations. Anybody you want to thank?
I thank my wife for letting me have my hobby doing this.
Great stuff there from Kevin Santana, our winner in the Formula 3 AM series here for the PRL series. In the meantime, as you can see, we have now headed our way over to Suzuka, which will be hosting round 5 for the Pro Series. Let's take a little look at our track guide to see what it has in store for them. Welcome to Suzuka Circuit, perhaps most famous for its hosting of the Formula 1 Japanese Grand Prix for much of the event's history. This track sees all sorts of racing besides that. In fact, this place began as a test track for Honda, but later proved to be a driver and fan favorite for competitive motorsports as well. The full layout of the Grand Prix course steals the show, but there's actually 5 different versions that can be run on iRacing. With their lap lengths ranging from just over 2 kilometers to nearly 6 kilometers, plenty of different types of cars can suit the track. GT racing and lower-level open-wheelers are quite popular, but motorcycles are also a staple here. Some of the corners have become world-renowned over the years. The S's are often cited as one of the great tests of a driver's technical prowess. Then, of course, there's Degner's 1 and 2, which provide very little runoff considering their fast and narrow entry. Later on, the long backstretch leads up to the notorious 130R, which is blindingly fast. The Casio Triangle offers one last chance at an overtake if you're brave, but has been the scene of many drivers clattering into one another over the years. F1 fans will be quick to cite the infamous coming together here between Senna and Prost. However, real-life visitors will find it's more than the racing that provides some viewing pleasures. The unique ways in which the Japanese fans celebrate their favorite cars and drivers certainly capture your attention. But it's no wonder they're such fanatics, because who wouldn't be with one of the world's greatest tracks right in your backyard? Well, DJ, this track has seen Formula 1 for a lot of years, and honestly, these Renault 3.5s probably going to feel like the Formula 1 cars maybe of the early 2000s.
Very much so, Joe, and they're certainly going to sound like them as they scream down this front straightaway. Now, the good thing about that is that because they're a little bit more like those early 2000s cars, I think we may see a little bit more passing than we're used to recently at Suzuka. The main areas to see that, it's going to be into the hairpin and into the first corner, but that first corner is very, very tricky. It is a corner where you've got to apply the brakes progressively to get the car turned and to come around. And after that, well, it's the snake, one of the most challenging places to drive anywhere in the world. You cannot get a single millimeter wrong or you'll be off for the rest of it. Drivers are going to have to watch out for Degner 1 and 2 as well. Very easy to run wide there. And then the run down from Spoon through 130R in these Formula Renault 3.5s should be flat out. Maybe watch for a pass or two going down into the Casio Triangle.
Now, for their championship, it's equally tight up at the top. Leighton and Ponick only 9 points apart from one another, but a win in the hands of Ponick and no wins in the hands of Leighton. In fact, we've had 4 different winners so far, but only 2 of them are in that top 5. Johnston is the other one who's taken a win. What about the teams championship?
Well, Joe, as we flick over to that team's championship, you can see it is a little bit more spread out there with Final Lap Yellow having a 23-point advantage over Ninja Trader Esports, but a big gap back to Madruga Late Night Racers. Almost 50 points there, exactly 50 points actually. Advanced Sim Sports iRacing, a decent ways back from them, but a good battle brewing up again for 4th place with Evolve only 2 points off them.
This race, just like the other one, not going to see too many laps out there. Only 25 circuits around this one. And again, open setup. I think instead here, we're going to see a lot of people trying to crank downforce in. Now, same deal, drive through at 13, disqualification at 17. Few places that you can try and pick those up, but hopefully shouldn't be as much of a worry. And same deal with the bonus points, which right now, Christophe Herbinot holds that provisional pole. Now, starting from the front at Monza proved not to be the best thing for the 92. We'll see if this one's any better. It's also a track with a notorious first corner if we think back to Senna versus Prost here, DJ. And let's you know, wish on every lucky charm we can that we don't see that sort of start here.
Most certainly we do not want to see that, although I wouldn't mind seeing a Kimi Räikkönen pass around the outside as we watch Herbinot make his way around. Ooh, that spoon coming out right there, coming down that long backstretch. Let's keep the camera here on him. Watch how he handles 130R. Now, this is such a great corner, pretty much flat out, as I said, in these Formula Renaults. But if you're traveling behind another car, you may have to do a little bit of a lift. Christophe getting out of the way there for, I'm not sure who that is flying on by him. That's Daly doing the nice thing.
Yeah, Daly on a flyer, so he's just making sure that since he's not going to get a good one, he gets out of his way. Herbinot now launches on his flyer. Looks like Daly not able to improve that time by. Raymond Day up next, starting from 3rd currently, but his lap unfortunately deleted. Ooh, a 43.4 for Marcel will get him from 9th to 6th.
That's a good lap there for Marcel, waiting for a couple other drivers to cross over the line. Here comes Hillard. Let's keep an eye on that rev limiter, see if he's able to take it flat out. Yes, I'd say that is. Although he didn't let the car run as wide there as I would expect. That may cost him a 10th or 2 as he makes his way through the Casio Triangle. Maybe
he's not on his best lap, but he knows it. I don't know. Let's see here as he comes across the line. Yeah, he was about 9/10 off. And in fact, speaking of 9/10, that's how far back Leighton is from Herbinot for the pole position right now. Just had Sepulveda finally set a time that'll put him into 11th. Is Aquino here? He is, but he's not out on track. And in fact, I think, yeah, he's not going to have time. So Aiden and the number 10 will have to start at the back of our dozen cars that will line up today.
Yeah, there you see Mark Ponik just absolutely flinging that car into the first part of the Casio Triangle. Just shows you how much you can really get the car to wrap around. He's going to be able to go a little bit faster there, although that's not going to improve him overall. Here comes Uribe. I think this is an out lap for him, so he'll cross over the line, and this will be his final lap that he'll be starting.
And I made such a big deal about how much camaraderie they were building after Montreal. Well, Monza, Uribe was one who was very unhappy. It was a complete reverse. Seemed to disapprove of the driving standards he witnessed as Daly goes up to 6th now. And Herbinot has got himself even more time at a 41.3. So now 1.2 seconds that Leighton has to try and find, and he doesn't find it on this lap. He gets one last shot now.
It's all going to be down to this one last lap for him. Here comes Hillard to the line. Looks like behind that, Marcel was unable to improve. Hillard take a little bit of a better line there through 130R. Again, flinging that car through the Casio Triangle, trying to make it work out the best he can, the 555. Here he goes, bringing it down. It's a fine line to tread there. He's going to cross over the line. He is going to be able to improve, but that's not going to boost his position.
Sepulveda goes to a 43.3, 6th place for him now. I think gaining 2 positions. Mark Ponik, it's a good thing they do have 12 cars out here as they've got plenty of space. You can see how far back we have to go for the next driver to come across the line. The 34 car down through 130R, and another driver just hugging the left-hand side, coming through that swift left-hander. Now, out of the Casio Triangle. He's on the 2nd row. Can he jump up to the 1st row and overtake Leighton? As he crosses, it's a 42.659. He's just shy, but he is into third now.
Let's see if Uribe's got anything there, taking a big chunk of curb on the first entrance of the triangle. Now he's going to let the car swing out wide, the 23, trying to bring it around here. Is he going to be able to improve? Yes, by about 0.7 of a second, and that's going to jump him all the way up to 6th.
Great run. Daly abandons his final lap. Looks like Raymond Day is going to try and finish it out. He's been pushed down to 4th. Is it faster? No, 43 flat will force him to remain no higher than 4th place. Marcel, unhappy with that one, abandons his. Herbino, does he want to try and add insult to injury? No, he's going to figure that's enough. I've got this pole by plenty.
Well, again, Christoph just asserting his dominance on the field here. We saw him do a lot of this last time in the last series. We saw him race in those LMP2s. He's just as dangerous here in single-seaters, Joe.
Okay, let's go through the starting order. It is going to be Herbino on the pole with Leighton to his outside. Ponik starts from P3. Then it is Raymond Day on the outside of that second row. Hillard on the inside of row 3. And Uribe, first half of the field, will be him in 6. DJ?
Vincente Sepulveda is going to be lining up at the inside of row 4, followed by Byron Daly to his outside. Diego Marcel will be 9th, followed by Alessandro Di Tullio. With Owen McLaughlin, the last car to put in a time. Aiden Aquino not putting in a time, although I do see him in the session. It looks like he may have had a little bit of internet problems that failed to get him in qualifying. I do believe he will be gridding up, however.
Let's hope so. The more the merrier out here. And considering how tough it is to be fast around this track, I think we'll have a few victims before it's done that find themselves off the course and into the barriers. I think the qualifying session is now officially done, and they are allowed to grid. It is an early morning session, 8:30 a.m. virtual standard time, and a mere 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius on the track surface.
Yeah, that means that especially coming up through the snake for the first time, I think drivers are going to have to be very careful not to try to overdrive the car, put too much inputs into it. Those tires can be a little bit squirrely if they're not careful.
Last time out, heavy braking zones were a big problem for our drivers, not just as the race went along, but as they came into the first corner. 5 drivers went off course. Will they be able to successfully navigate this tricky turn 1 here? As it's not quite as sudden of braking, but it is narrow and it is going to be tough. I think we're waiting on our pole sitter to find his way to the grid still. As we've now got Leighton and Ponik out there, 2nd and 3rd. Yeah, Herbino is going to be the last one as Aquino is out on the grid. So he will be joining us. 12 racers here at Suzuka Circuit. And he's giving them a long time. Christoph Herbino wants to be sure that he doesn't have to sit and wait. There he goes. The engines will now start to rev as the lights come up. Green flag is out off the line. It is decent for Christoph, not so for Leighton. Looks like Ponik might have something on him, so does Day, but he runs out of track as he gets blocked off to the inside. All of them plunge down into 1 and 2, and we are good.
Good to see everybody making it through there nice and clean. Mark Ponik doing a very, very good job to stay up to the back of Tiensai Leighton for right now as they make their way up through the snake. Remember what I said about these cold tires. Drivers are going to have to be a little bit careful here. I think that was a little bit of an offline move there from Tiensai.
Yeah, it seemed to struggle there trying to find traction. So he's lost ground on Herbino by about a second down into the Degners for the first time. Oh, almost contact. In fact, there was contact. Uribe's off. If he had some frustrated words to say after last time, they're going to be screaming this time.
Oh, we're going to jump back to the replay here to check this out, Joe. Focusing on Uribe right here. Degner 1 coming down into Degner 2, and just a little bit of a bump in the back there. I think that may have been a little bit of ghost contact, if I'm honest.
I'm trying to see who that was. DeTulio is the one that got into him, unfortunately. DeTulio continues in 6th place. As you can see, Uribe is now a full 7 seconds behind everybody else. So he's got a lot of work to do, but he had speed in qualifying. We'll see if he can back it up here in the race. Herberto's just about finished that first lap. He's a full 1.5 seconds ahead. Things are tight for 2nd place, though. It is Leighton, followed by Ponik and Day.
Yeah, it looked like Ponik had the advantage over Leighton coming down into the Casio triangle, but under braking, that reversed back, and now it looks like Raymond Day may be on the attack a little bit. So here they go. Oh, some big movements behind. I believe that's DeTulio and Hillard.
Yeah, I took a look on him, but Philip defended into the corner. Oh, but he went wide and almost gets hit from behind as DeTulio has to take evasive action. And no, DeTulio now gets hit off.
Oh, no, more contact here in the Formula Renault 3.5 series. Tries to catch it. Oh, and there's more contact. Oh, no, I think that's 3 cars involved.
That was Aquino, and I think maybe Sepulveda. Oh. And honestly, I think I put that one a bit on DeTulio, as he did not lock them up.
Let's watch it here. You know, I think that may have just been a spin there, Joe. It didn't look like the way the car moved that there was actual contact. I think he just spun the tires.
Right, yeah. Wasn't expecting them to get spun up when he returned to the pavement, and that sent him around. Still, I wonder if that poor rejoin will net him a penalty from the stewards. I guess the only thing that might come back for him is that he might find... well, actually, no, he made the contact before as well, so he might get 2 penalties. I was thinking he was the one that got spun off earlier. In the meantime, we look at Herbino, our leader, still handily ahead of Leighton. It's side-by-side action between Marcel and Philip up there in 5th place. Well, now it's becoming between Hillard and Daly, and Daly's going to get by, so 2 positions lost for the poor 555 car.
That was a very heads-up move there for Byron Daly. He saw both Marcel and Hillard duking it out. Ooh, maybe Marcel's going to have a little bit of a look here to try to go. No, he's not going to be able to do it. Runs a little bit wide into the first corner, but they're able to keep it all together here nice and clean now as they go. But as I was saying there with Daly, he just let that battle play out, let Hillard run a little bit wide, and moved right on up and said, thank you, I will take that space.
2nd place still being contested. Leighton ahead of Ponik, ahead of Day, but none of them have been able to squeak by our championship leader as they follow him up towards the hairpin. Ooh, a little bit of a look from Ponik. I don't know if it was a serious attempt, but he is enough to scare Tien Tsai off the racing line. Doesn't get through.
Not going to be able to make it work, and now we're right on board here with Raymond Day as he's going to maybe be thinking about the same thing that Byron Daly did. Now, you can't make really a pass here up through Spoon. Just tell that to Sebastian Vettel. Whoa, almost off there was Raymond Day having to gather it back up. He's going to lose a lot of time, and now Ponik's going to be in the draft of Tien Tsai Leighton.
So Leighton being gobbled up, and Ponik is easily through before they get to the Casio Triangle. For the first time this race, somebody other than Leighton will hold P2. Now out of that last chicane and on the front stretch. I wondered if Leighton could maybe get a run, but I think he's way too far back, although a little bit of weaving from Ponik shows he still fears that slipstream.
Yeah, I think so, and we've seen it be pretty effective here across the board. Guys able to catch up and make those moves. Couple of different varying lines there going into the first corner, but Ponik definitely able to try to hold the advantage here. Now, let's see how Tien Tsai handles this car now that he's going to be in the dirty air. Remember, Herbino's been so far in front, he hasn't had to deal with any of that aero wash.
That's a good point. And coming out of Dunlop here, it looks like Ponik has certainly got a handy gap to Leighton. he hasn't been falling away, but he also hasn't been catching up to this point. Now off the Degners, way into the runoff there for Day in the background, and he loses a chunk of time from that one.
Yeah, he really does. Day just kind of struggling here, it looks like. Tiensai able to keep relatively close enough, though, to Ponic. I'm going to be interested to see what his speed is going to be when they get out of Spoon. If he's going to be able to hold that down, or if Mark Ponic's going to be able to pull away a little bit.
Going to watch from on board the 19 with his roll hoop here, looking ahead at the number 34, the winner from last round, who is just as surprised as we were to see him come away with the victory out of 130R. Nope, nothing doing for Leighton this time. And the interesting thing is I don't think this will mean that Leighton will lose the championship lead, though. 9 points difference. Ponic only finishing 1 spot ahead. He'll gain, but I don't think he'll be able to overtake him, and he is continuing to weave to try and break that draft on the 19 car.
Well, look how much he was closing up there, Joe, so I think that was with good reason for him to do it. Now let's stay on board, or let's keep watching here, see how he handles that. Ooh, a little bit of too wide action there in the back. I believe that's Daly and Marcel.
Yeah, Daly tried to make a move into turn 1, but Marcel said no and shut the door. Marcel's been having a great run today. He started from 11th. He is up 6 spots into the top 5, but as you can see, he has got to try and hold off some hard chargers. Still looking at Ponic, though, on screen. Coming out of the Degners, under the crossover bridge and into the hairpin. Yeah, Leighton, if he is faster, he looks a little bit stuck here. I think you're right about that dirty air kind of keeping him from being able to attack the 34.
Yeah, but we're going to jump back here to that battle for P5 that we were talking about, who looks like he's not stuck behind in the dirty air, is Byron Daly making that charge on Marcel. Now, let's see if he's able to keep this through Spoon. Gets a nice run, keeps it off the Astro. That's going to help him. Good power off of the corner, gets it just right. That gap's going to be holding down at less than half a second, about 3/10. He should have the speed to be able to do it. Let's see if Marcel tries to defend.
Still nothing yet, as Daly doesn't poke his nose to the inside. Now as we come down to the triangle, he is going to have to go the long way around to the first apex. Oh, and he backs out of it, maybe going for the over-under. Marcel does get a good launch, so Daly can't respond. Here comes another bit of a slipstream down the front stretch. Marcel has not been that defensive, but a little bit. This time he leaves the door wide open, and in comes Daly. Through goes Daly, and that will net him 5th place.
Question is if he can hold it. He can. Okay, good. Sometimes when you take that inside line there into the first corner, oh, who's that off?
That's Day. That is Day who spun it up out of turns 1 and 2. I kind of wondered if we'd see any of this. This track has just as many slower corners as a place like Monza, where trying to get the throttle down in these things looks supremely difficult. And yeah, goosed it, and around goes the 77.
Yeah, and I think he looked a little bit out of position even from the beginning of the corner there, Joe. He brushed that outside curbing on the entrance to the first corner, and that just slightly unsettled him. The car looked like it got resettled by mid-corner, but as a driver, when that happens to you, it can completely throw off your rhythm, and so as a result, you'll get on the throttle a little bit harder and earlier.
So we take a look at Daly once again. Marcel still right on top of him. Don't count out Hillard back there in the 555. We ride on board with Byron, looking over his wing. Marcel wanting to return the favor, see if he can fight back and take the spot. Wasn't through this corner. Can he maybe try and pull one over here? No. He's going to sit patiently. He's setting him up. I wonder if he saw how easy it was to try and get through on the front stretch. Oh, no! But he gets on the throttle too hard. And instead of gaining a spot, away goes 2, 3, and 4 positions for the 913. All his hard work has been undone.
Oi, 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 oi. Everybody having problems here today. Yeah, as you can see, just comes through this part here, just spun up those tires. Good job of him of staying out of that barrier, though. That means at least the car's not going to be damaged, and he will be able to continue on.
McLaughlin, DeTulio, and Aquino have already retired, which means that 9th spot is the last one on track right now for poor Marcel. This is got to be a little bit discouraging. So Ponick, we saw, get ahead of Leighton and has not been challenged since. We're already on lap 7 now. But Leighton keeping him honest. They have dropped... Oh, what happened to Raymond Day? Did Day have a problem?
Yeah, Joe, we did see Day spin off.
That's right, yeah.
Coming up through the S's.
As soon as I saw his number, I remembered, yes, the 77 went around. So, yeah, that is why he is back there. Anyways, the point that was leading me to was because of that spin, Leighton now has about 8.8 seconds down to Daly. So really no pressure from behind. And he's certainly making good on that as he gets it down to about 0.2 of a second behind Ponick on the run to the Casio Triangle. Oh, this looks promising. Tianzai holding right in the slipstream. Ponick covering him off. Does he take it all the way down to the pit wall? Just about. Looking around the outside. Here comes Leighton, but he backs out of it.
I think that's a good move from Leighton, and I like the let's call it semi-aggressiveness from him here. He's not fully committing to the moves, but he is absolutely filling Ponick's rear view mirrors with that black, red, and yellow machine, and that is hopefully going to be getting into the head of Mark Ponick and force him to make a mistake, something that is very, very easy to do at Suzuka, like we've seen here many times already.
This is our closest battle on the track currently, trying to decide the bottom 2 steps of the podium. Ooh, little twitch there from Leighton off of Degner too. Cost him about 1/10. Now down into the hairpin. Both of them trying to get that throttle down as smoothly and as quickly as possible. And both of them looking as smooth, as quick as you could hope for.
Yeah, and even though they both took opposite lines there through the hairpin, Ponick going a little bit on an earlier apex, and Leighton trying to go on a little bit of a later apex, carry some more speed through mid-corner. Leighton catching a little bit of that AstroTurf there on the exit of Spoon. I think that's going to deny him from being able to make the chance here to make the pass, but he'll still at least be close.
Not close enough here to attack into the Casio Triangle. Last time he gained a lot of time and set him up for turn 1. This time he's still about 0.4 of a second back. So if it wasn't enough before with a 0.2 of a second gap, I don't think there's much hope here. But look at Ponick continue to run way off the racing line. Now he weaves back to the racing line. Leighton actually didn't even gain anything there. It went up to about 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, it did. So very much just trying to keep this gap as it is. Probably a good point here to talk about a little bit of pit strategy. Now, with a smaller field like this, I don't think it's going to be as important as it is, let's say, in the Formula 3 race that we just saw happen. However, for some of these drivers, they may want to think about trying to do an overcut or an undercut with as much dirty air as you follow around in. If you can come out on the track in some clear air, it may be able to help you jump the car you're trailing behind.
So it's 0.7 of a second. Now it's starting to increase once again. Did Leighton burn things up, trying to follow too close? This track kind of notorious for that. And does that mean Leighton, with such a small field, needs to consider maybe thinking on strategy? Because I think we're going to get within the pit window pretty soon.
Yeah, I think we are too. Herbino getting ready to come through 130R, so that will mean that he will be starting lap 10. Leighton just looking a little bit sluggish here, like he doesn't fully want to go forward.
Ooh, this was his best run yet. And in fact, a defensive move by Ponick down into the Casio Triangle. Switches back. Will this give him the better shot he's been looking for? Not quite. Even still, riding wide off of that last chicane. Ponick for the first time leaves the door open, and Leighton knows it. He'll stick his leg through. He's trying to get past the threshold. He's got the inside line. He's given just enough down at the bottom of the track. And as they fly through 1 and 2, an impressive defense from Mark Ponick to retain second place.
Oh, that was just beautiful, Joe. Absolutely brilliant defense from Ponick. It's what makes that first corner so incredible is that you can overtake around the inside or the outside. Tiensai Leighton now knows that Ponick is vulnerable, and Ponick knows where Tiensai wants to go. So now it becomes even more of a mental game in between these two drivers.
Yeah, Leighton will not like that. He was about as close as he's come to returning to that second spot, and he gets right up behind the gearbox, but I almost think that held him up down through the hairpin as he drops back. It almost seems like those first few laps were the way to go for overtakes, and since then, drivers just, maybe the tires have gone away so much that the dirty air makes it nigh on impossible.
Yeah, very much so, and I think that run there that you saw through the hairpin for Leighton is driving with a little bit of red mist there for the 19. A little bit of an uncharacteristic move from him. Now that's interesting what they just did. Leighton poking his nose to the inside, trying to get a little bit of clean air going through 130R, and Ponick deliberately trying to give him dirty air. Love the tactics between these two.
Well, they come back onto the front stretch once again. Happy hunting ground, well, sort of, for Tiensai Leighton, but it's not going to be happy this time through, as Tiensai Leighton is going to have to get closer and more clever, perchance, to try and get past. At 13 laps in, we are going to hit that halfway mark, and we're yet to see any scheduled pit stops. Everybody seemingly going pretty long here.
Yeah, it does seem to be the strategy. I especially think for the leaders here, they don't want to run the risk of coming back behind about 5th place on. That's Daly, Sepulveda, Day, Uribe, and Marcel. They're all running within about a second of each other. So if you get into that mix, that can really slow you down.
At 7 seconds, Herbino has easily got this one in hand right now, but he's got to be smooth. And worthy of noting that Herbino would be our 5th different winner in 5 rounds if he finishes here. He's actually a pretty big gap behind our leaders, 50 points already back from Tiensai Leighton. But if Tiensai is going to finish 30, certainly is not going to be able to claw much of that back.
No, not at all. And, you know, I keep saying it, Joe, but it is a testament to what the Precision Racing League has done to really be able to give this incredible series a chance to shine. But we're going to jump back here. This is that battle that I was talking a little bit about. This is Hillard again trying to hold off Daly. Sepulveda sneaking around the outside as well there too, maybe having a sniff.
Yeah, Vicente has still got a chance here to try and get involved as they come up to the Casio Triangle. Still, Daly not really showing his nose. And are they being closed up by Day and Uribe? Because those two, I'm pretty certain, are out of position here.
They are indeed. That gap was about 4 seconds a little while ago. It's now down to about 2. So this could very well become a 5-car train as we watch Daly continue to close down on Hillard here. Not finding the area to overtake yet. Not sure if it's that tire issue that you were talking about, Joe, or it may just be an issue where Daly's trying to be a little patient.
I can confirm both Day and Uribe are running faster laps than Sepulveda, Daly, and Hillard. So they're going to be run down, and then we'll have a 5-car tussle here in the middle of this race. Hopefully, anyways, unless somebody tries to get clever and ducks off into the pits. Kind of wonder if any of the two that are catching them, Sepulveda or Day, maybe try and get clever there. Or, excuse me, Day and Uribe, trying to maybe jump them in the pit stops. We're going to watch from Daly's perspective, who is going to be chasing on Hillard and actually chasing quite closely. If he gets a good exit out of Spoon, I wonder if he's going to have enough of a run down the backstretch to do something.
He nailed held the mid part of that corner, lost a little bit at corner exit, but that's to be expected with the aero wash. He's definitely got more speed at this point. He's just got to make sure he keeps it in through 130R. This could be good. There you see a little bit of poke to the inside. Which way is he going to go? Hillard tries to defend what to go to the inside. Here comes Daly, late on the brakes. Is he going to be able to make the corner? Barely gets it. He's now going to reverse it back, and Daly's got himself up to 4th.
Smooth move down to the Casio triangle by the 06, but it might be paid right back to him. Hillard coming up, and he's got the slipstream himself. Daly doesn't defend, leaves the outside open. A nose ahead for the 555, and he's back through. Just barely led a few hundred feet, did Daly.
That's got, woo, but Byron thinking about it here through the snake. Oh. That's not going to work well, Byron. Don't do that. Okay, he backed out of it. We're good. Nothing bad happened there.
Yeah, but Sepulveda got an eye full, almost thought he could maybe try and attack, and now Raymond Day is within roughly a second. So all that squabbling has cost them time. Ooh, still poking his nose as Daly thought about it into Dagner 1. That really would have gone south.
All right, he's close. Let's see if the blood is up. Let's see if he pulls a Kamuya Kobayashi here and goes for a move down into the hairpin. No, he's not going to do it, but again, takes that wider exit, a little bit of puff of the smoke in, puff of brake smoke in the back. I can't tell if that was Day or Sepulveda, but here they come. Coming up to Spoon once again. This is almost a mirror image of what we saw last time, but Daly's closer.
Yep, Philip still holding on. Now, though, I wonder if 2 cars will try and pop out of the line, maybe even 3. Ooh, a bad exit for Vicente. So I don't think he'll be as involved as I thought he would. Up to 130R. Once again, the 555 with the advantage from the corner. Daly does not poke his nose. He stays put behind them. Oh, my goodness. The 248 is suddenly right on top of him as he's got some handy braking advantage over 06.
That is some really good stuff there from Sepulveda. Really starting to go. Now let's see if anybody tries to make that move down into the first corner. It's going to have to be a late braking maneuver if anybody does it. No, we're all going to stay in line here. No one wanting to get too aggressive.
Uribe into pit lane, and he was at the tail of that train. I don't see him having hit anything. So I think this is indeed a strategy call from the 23 car to try and jump them in the pit stops, because we did hit the halfway mark.
Well, and remember, Joe, he is out of position a little bit. Uribe is. And so I think for him coming in at this point, it's a good call. He's getting 4 cars worth of dirty air in front of him. He's now going to be able to come out in the pits. He's coming through the snake right now. He can just run hot laps, and maybe he can jump 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of these cars. Again, more lockup there from Sepulveda.
Struggling into the hairpin. Granted, it is not easy to get that thing lined up and get on the binders. Starting to split into pairs of 2 between Hillard and Daly, and Sepulveda and Day onto the backstretch. And I think Day's got the best shot of any of the 4.
I think he does too. There you can see. Wish you could see those eyes through the helmet. Well, the virtual eyes through the helmet. But here we go as they're all going to come on through, riding on board with Raymond Day. Ooh, is he going to make the move here on Sepulveda? He's going to try to go to the outside. Sepulveda later on the brakes goes for the crossover, but not going to work for Raymond.
And Tiensai Leighton managed to get to the inside of Ponik yet again, but once more, he was denied down into turn 1. Vicente now also taking a stop. This will give us a good idea on whether or not Uribe got a jump. Not sure if he took tires or not. There's Uribe coming through the Casio triangle. Sepulveda, 5 seconds, and rolling. Uribe's on the front stretch. This is going to be close. Pablo is approaching, but he is not through. The 248 will retain that 8th position.
So that did not pay out for Pablo, but remember, with the battles that have been going on with Hillard and Daly and Day and that fight back and forth, this still could come back around. This isn't done yet.
We took a glance at Ponik and Leighton before. still holding at about 0.4 of a second. But dropping back, Leighton struggling to get that throttle to the floor out of the spoon curve. And he falls back to 0.6 of a second behind Ponick. Certainly not going to get a shot into the last chicane. But once again, he seems to favor the front stretch. Wonder if he's just better in these slower corners.
Maybe a little bit of setup issue there as Herbino sets the fastest lap of the race. Also, wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if, as you said, he maybe's burning up his rear tires a little bit with just how hard is he attacking. But woo, Ponick getting a little bit aggressive there with some of his moves back and forth, trying to break the draft. Little bit of a half look there for Leighton. I think that was just to see if he could get Ponick to bite on anything.
Trying to get into his head now. He's having trouble doing it with normal conditions, so got to go psychologicals. In the meantime, Day is now pitting. So will he come out ahead of Sepulveda and Uribe? Battle between Hillard and Daly has gotten extremely close. There you can see just how close as we hop on the nose of Byron.
Yeah, very, very close. He's got to back off through the climbing portion of the snake. Such a hard place to go, even when you're not running in the dirty air. And Joe, I can report, as for the pit stops, that Sepulveda and Uribe have passed Raymond Day.
That's because he's gone long.
Yeah.
We're now 20 seconds into the pit stop, and the pit limit here is 37. Wonder if he sped in, trying to maximize that. Yep, he absolutely did. He was way beyond the speed limit there, so he is suffering from a penalty, sadly, as we watch on screen. Heading up to Spoon Curve, Daly and Daly and Hillard, rather, fighting for 4th place. Ooh, Daly's close enough. I think this could be an opportunity, and we hear over the radio that Ponick is going to pit.
We do indeed. Herbino setting another fastest lap of the race, but we're going to keep our eyes focused here. This could be the run for Daly. Defensive goes Hillard through 130R. Not going to make the move around the outside quite yet. There he goes again, defensive. He's going to make him go the long way around. Daly tries to take it through the Casio triangle. They almost touch. Don't do it. They're still side by side, and Hillard holds it out and dives into the pits.
That's as good a time as any. Holding each other up quite a bit. Don't want the other drivers around them to start to gain with pit strategy. Marcel also in. So once again, we'll have to watch out for Vicente and Pablo. See if they start to catch. We're still waiting on Herbino, Leighton, and Daly to take their pit stops.
Ponick had a bit of a long stop there, Joe. 6.3 seconds stationary in the box, so we'll have to see if that hurts him. Watching now to see how Uribe is going to come out compared to everybody else. And they jumped him. Sepulveda and Uribe have jumped Hillard and Marcel.
Worried about that. Seems running on their own gave them all the time that they needed with about 3 laps difference, unfortunately. So Sepulveda, that's actually quite a great move because he is now up into 5th after starting from 12th. So even though he has pace, he just didn't get a good qualifying in. And he's trying to keep away from Uribe, who has been running there on his tail.
Yes, he has, and this has really been a battle since the two of them came out of the pits. Also, our leader, Christoph Herbino, now into pit lane, provided that he doesn't speed. I see no problem that he will come out in the lead.
Yeah, let me check that real quick just to see if he was safe. And he was. He definitely got on the limiter by the time he got to the cones. He had the margin to be able to give up that time. Still watching this pair down into Spoon Curve. Sepulveda and Uribe. Now that they've completed the pit stop, have to imagine they're free to race.
They are indeed, and everybody coming in. Tiensai, Leighton, Byron, Daly. We'll keep an eye on that as we continue to watch this battle. Uribe looking like he's got a good little bit of a run here. And yes.
Ponick was about even with Leighton on the pit stops. And down into the first corner, though, Leighton misses out, and Ponick, unfortunately, is going to stay ahead. So the 19 is going to have to do this one on track in these final 8 laps.
Yeah, I literally came out in the same position, but I love this. Ooh, a little bit of a heat up coming there. I believe that's Daly coming out directly in front. Oh, this is getting tight.
in the middle. Uribe's ahead of him, but Sepulveda is behind, and it was Hillard who lost out in the pit stops with what looks like tires that the 555 took.
Well, that may hurt him in the short term, but we'll have to see if he's able to close up a gap here. It's not that too much ahead to maybe be able to crack into the top 5. If others start to struggle with tires here with 8 laps to go, this could really come back to favor him.
Credit to Pablo, up to 4th now because of that pit stop for Daly. So definitely going to be our hard charger. Still have a little bit left in this race, and it's been getting cloudy as well. The temperatures have been rising since it is morning, but the drivers maybe will get a little bit of respite from that since we haven't seen the sun shining on the track for some time now.
Yeah, indeed. We continue to watch this battle, though, as this is Sepulveda trying to hunt down Uribe, and that's Leighton in front of them. Leighton really just not looking like he's able to keep up close to the back of Ponick. Ooh, but this is a good run here for Daly. He may have something.
They come down into 130R, and now poking his nose down to the inside under braking. Sepulveda almost managing to get Daly, but not quite there. In fact, that hurt him. He lost a number of tenths to the 06 with that attempt.
Yes, he did, and if he's not careful, that may put him back into the clutches of Marcel. This is just a big train here running down the straight, literally coming back from Daly. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, and a mistake behind them. That was Marcel. Marcel gives up a spot to Hillard. Let's take a look. This was out of turn 1. Very similar to the 77's incident. Watch him light him up on the exit.
All right, so here he comes, gets it there. No curb entry or anything. Yep, just, ooh, very nice catch. He recognized what it was, put a little bit of brake into it. Watch this. Just boop, whoop, there it is. Catch it, just, and that's not full brake. That's not a slam. That's almost like you're trail braking. That's one of the more impressive catches I've seen in a while.
Looked incredibly calm. My hands would have been all over the place right there. It did not save him a position, so now he's got to try and attack Hillard, which he is hot on the heels of. The 555 has been in plenty of fights today. Sad news for him is that he hasn't gained any positions, even though he hasn't lost any. He's exactly where he started this race.
Yep, nowhere up, nowhere down. So he's going to have to try to do something here as they make their way down the long straightaway towards 130R. Going to tuck up in that draft, that all-important draft that we keep talking about. Let's see. He's not going to be close enough to make an attack.
Certainly not this time. This is our closest battle on the track. We know Marcel's got pace. Question is, does he have enough pace in the dirty air of that 555? Now with only these 6 laps left to go into turns 1 and 2, yeah, just way too far back. He will probably suffer even worse, and he does it a second time in a row. This time much worse, into the grass. Keeps it out of the wall, but the 913 can probably kiss that 7th place goodbye.
Yeah, that one's pretty much going to end that charge for him, unfortunately.
Christoph Herbino with an impressive run today is a full almost 16 seconds ahead of Ponick, and we're on lap 20, so close to a second of a lap faster than any other nearest car in this race. Pretty impressive stuff. DJ, why don't you talk us through around here the Formula Renault 3.5 as we ride on board with the 92?
Well, as I've said before, Joe, this is a true driver's track. So here we're going to start out, fittingly as you can imagine, on the start-finish straightaway. It's not that long of a straight, but you want to line up to the left. Now, this is a really tricky corner. You're going to want to start turning in at the 100-meter board and then start braking. Slowly apply the brakes and let the car tighten up and then run just wide enough on exit. You don't actually want to take the full course all the way to the right and then up here through the S's. Clip each and every one of the apexes passes as you can. Get it just right. You get one wrong, you're off into the wall. Okay, now you can breathe for a minute and you come up through Dunlop. There you go. Let the car run wide. Don't hit that Astro, and then come back to clip the second apex there as it curves around. Stay all the way to the left for Degner. Hard onto the brakes for the 50-meter board. Then again, harder into Degner too. Very easy to get off into the kitty litter off to the left there. Now, you get a moment to breathe before you come into the hairpin. Jab the car to the right and then immediately straighten out the wheel and slam on the brakes for the hairpin. Get it around as quickly as you can and get onto the power, because you need a good blast here through this curving section of track, flat out as you make your way up to Spoon. Spoon is almost as tricky as that first corner. You've got to bring it in here nice and wide, get that first apex, let the car naturally run to the outside, and then pull it back in, and then let it run wide again. It's all about feeling out the car there. You cannot try to fight it. You've got to let it do what it wants to do. Now, you're on the longest straight of the track. Start to breathe. Slowly move the car over to the right side and get ready for 130R. Flick the car in, don't lift off the throttle, and let it go. Now get all the way to the left. Wait for the 75-meter board. Hard onto the brakes for the Casio triangle. 1, 2, you're clear through there. Don't clip too many of the curves. Let the car just naturally go along here. You don't want to scrub too much speed as you get back onto the main straight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lap of Suzuka.
Frantic stuff around here in this car. So much happening. In fact, as that was going on, Byron Daly got by Uribe, who was pulling away from him, but made a mistake into the S's. So Uribe not only lost that position, he's in the clutches of Sepulveda, who doesn't attack into the Casio triangle. But these three, who we saw together not too long ago, have accordion back to within range. And with 4 laps to go, we got a fight on our hands.
We certainly do, and it looks like advantage right now is slightly at Uribe. He's going to take a look to the inside on Byron Daly. Not an aggressive attack, but just trying to get into his head.
Daly, in my experience, has been a pretty cool customer. I think he's going to have a hard time trying to get by that 06 car. This is where the mistake was, those first couple corners through the snake. This time, I think he's got a handle on it, but he's actually closing in. It looks like he handles the dirty air fairly well.
Yeah, he does, and that may be a little bit of a setup issue there for Uribe. He may have chosen to go with a higher front and rear wing to give that car a little bit more grip in the dirty air. It'll hurt him, obviously, when he's coming down the long speed sections, but with as twisty as this track is, and knowing he wasn't going to be starting in the lead, it's a pretty savvy call from Pablo.
As we come out of the hairpin this time, Daly is able to pull away by a few car lengths. Uribe without a response, but he's going to have 3 more laps to try and do this, because our leader's just coming across the line right now. Still, oh, and Herbino, did Herbino have a problem that lap? He was 4 seconds slower. Let me check here. He lost a lot of his time. Yeah, he had an off in the second Degner. He managed to keep it off the wall by inches, actually. I'm not sure we'll be able to get the replay since this was a good full lap back here. But this battle has given us plenty of entertainment in the meantime as Uribe gets up to within 3/10 of Daly. Just not close enough to attack down into turn 1.
Yeah, he's really not, Joe. Uribe looks very, very strong on entry and through the second part of that Casio triangle, but once it comes down to getting the power down off of the corner, it just seems like Daly's got the legs on him. I don't know if that's throttle deployment, I don't know if that's a setting, or if that's just driving style, but Daly certainly looks stronger coming off there, and that's really depriving Uribe of a good overtaking opportunity.
Once again, he gets right up close to him through the S's. Interesting to note that Sepulveda's dropped off too. Oh, and Leighton's had a problem. Leighton is off at the hairpin. Did he get any damage from this? I think he ran into the wall a little bit.
Let's see if he, oh, just very much missed it. There he comes, coming wide. Power off. Ooh. Just a tap. Yeah, that'll buff out.
Yeah, he better hope that that wing is in good shape. He's now down to 9 seconds ahead of Daly. And if he's losing top end speed, That'll make for a frustrating day to be slowly caught by the next car and finish off the podium. In the meantime, we had a car go a lap down as Day was overtaken by Herbino. And we're watching Uribe with a huge charge. Here we go. Daly, he can't cover him off in time. Gives the inside to Pablo, braking side by side down into the Casio triangle, and he is through.
Great move there from Uribe, but let's see if what I was talking about on that last time comes back to bite him. It looks like Daly's got a little bit more speed here coming down the main straightaway. He may have a fight back. Indeed, he's going to go to the outside. They're going to be side by side entering into turn one. He's going to try to go around the outside.
Wheel to wheel through turn one. Advantage is going to go back to Daly, who's got the inside into the S's, and he successfully fends him off and retakes the position.
Holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen, that is what we call racing. Gotta love to see that between Byron Daly and Pablo Uribe. Absolutely amazing stuff between these two.
Daly was not letting him have that one without a fight. Okay, Pablo's got to re-rack him and try and come back. Ooh, and off in the background that we didn't see on screen, Sepulveda dipping wheels into the AstroTurf. That often results in a wreck here in open wheelers, but somehow he managed to keep it together.
Very, very lucky. We've seen a lot of guys go off there. Remember the terrifying crash that Daniel Kvyat had in that same corner not too many years ago.
Up into Spoon Curve now. And Uribe, okay, what did he pull from last time? Did he decide maybe I can't lap through? Or try and pass through before the chicane, and he's weaving to try and break that slipstream. Daly knows that he's got a lot of speed on him. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is, but it's the same way once again. Are we going to see a repeat of this? Tries to almost shove him off course, tries to shut the door, and it's not there. He's going to stick with it. He'll have the slipstream once again, but this time looks like he might be able to cover off the inside as they stream down the front stretch. Daly around the outside. He gets ahead, and he is fully passed by the braking zone. Once again, Daly denies Uribe.
Yeah, but Joe, here is the catch. If Uribe can keep this up, we are on the final lap right now. If he can do that again, I think he may be able to be past Daly by the time they cross the timing and scoring line.
And I'll tell you what, I think Herbino is getting a little bit complacent. I just saw him have a lot of wheel spin out of the hairpin and have to catch it. So I wonder if he's lost a little focus. Granted, he still has a whopping 17 seconds to the nearest car. We keep the cameras here on the battle for fourth place just outside of the podium, but we're going to have to break away soon because Herbino is now into the Casio triangle. So the 92 started on the pole today, and once he was able to get away, there was no looking back. Our fifth different winner in 5 rounds is Christoph Herbino.
And absolutely stellar drive from Herbino. Jumping back here to P2, Mark Ponick had a really good battle early on with Tiensai Leighton, was able to pull ahead in the pit stops and never looked back. A solid drive from the 34.
I wonder if Uribe is going to be able to do something. In fact, Uribe is side by side as we see Leighton get his 3rd place, and it's wheel to wheel into the chicane, and there was contact. In fact, more contact as Uribe shoved aside, and Sepulveda is going to get him. I think it was a little bit of netcode, unfortunately, but how things have gone south for the 23 at the very end. It was an aggressive move that failed. Hillard into 7th, and Marcel wound up in 8th place, the only 8 cars on the lead lap. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Suzuka. Round 5 in the Precision Racing League Formula Renault 3.5 Pro Series went to Christophe Herbino. He's been waiting for this one. He's the 5th different winner of the season, but he's got a long road to hoe if he wants to try and get up to the points lead. Mark Honig, after this one, is going to make some inroads on Tianxai Leighton, but not as many as he would want. He did finish in second as Leighton swapped places with him and wound up in third. Byron Daly was P4 as Sepulveda wound up in fifth position as Uribe was in sixth, beating out some other drivers that were certainly challenging. Hillard was seventh and Marcel in the eighth position. Day was the first one, a lap down, and then from there you had DNFs with McLaughlin, Aquino, and DeTulio. It was a rough one for sure. And it takes us to our second place finisher, Mark Honig. It wasn't a win today, but you made some inroads on your rival in the championship, Mark. So do you take satisfaction out of this finish, or did you wish that you had more for Christophe?
No, that was a fantastic race. That's as much fun as I think I could ever have on this track. I'm not going to be giving up to Christophe anytime soon. He was just way too fast. He's always too fast. So that just leaves us behind. But that race with Leighton was so much fun. I could care less. Like I said last week, I'd lap here for an hour and not care, and I still hold to that. It was just an absolute blast. I'm a bit of a sweaty mess. That was fun.
I was just about to ask. I mean, did any of the moves make you the least bit nervous? Because it got pretty close.
There was a couple, like when we were flying into turn one, going sometimes side by side, sometimes, backing out at the very last second. Only because I'm always worried about netcode, right? Because I know Leighton's a great driver. So to be racing close with him, we had a race earlier in the week in a official race, and it went pretty much the same way. It was close. It was very, very difficult to be racing against him. He's just a good driver. So, always worried about that little quarter, half inch, or whatever it takes to knock a car off track. But yeah, in the end, that was just perfect all the way around from what I could tell. That was so much fun.
It looked like a lot of fun. Well, this is a track that sees a lot of action. We tend to see plenty of series show up here. But Motegi for next week, not so much. We stay in Japan. Do you see yourself faring well there? Do you have much practice over at that track?
Yeah, but it was all in Gran Turismo 5 on PlayStation, 10 years ago. So I don't think I'll be really using that skills here. Yeah, I don't think I've even driven a lap here since it got picked up by iRacing. I think it's a really quirky track. Like, it's got so many unique things to it that it could be a blast. Plus, it's almost, I'm going to say it's almost Monza, but almost Montreal-ish, where it's a straight hard brake, straight hard brake, straight hard brake, and then a little fun section in the middle, and then a crazy-ass finishing corner. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's just weird.
And we know you do well on those tracks, considering your performance at Monza. Well, again, congratulations. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to for this podium?
Yeah, I think it's the same roster as last week. You guys are putting a good show in. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention last week, it's actually Ponic. I get it 50-50 either way. So I'm never worried about it, but I forgot. But and then of course the guys that set up PRL. It's it's a super fun series. We didn't even have a full field out today, and it looked like I wasn't the only one out there fighting and having fun. And then yeah, Tom Wedgwood coaching again. He's helped phenomenally, just keeping me consistent. So all good on all three levels there.
Great stuff. That was Mark Ponick. I've made a note for myself in the script so that we make sure we get that right for the rest of the season. Our second place finisher here today at Suzuka. That's going to round out our interviews, though, and we want to thank our sponsors that help make this happen. ASR, of course. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. As well as ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. And SIMMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed on the screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Her Bandcamp is there if you want to get more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Sean, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC and keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC, because next race will be a combination of Phillip Island and Motegi for our Formula Series, Thursday, July 29th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.